wondering if that's not straight or not. And can you see the difference behind me? I've still got my very untidy pile of boxes and bits and pieces that I used for classes hidden with a sheet because I found it was very distracting. However, can you see what is new behind me? I'll give you a chance to comment on that. Very exciting happenings here in the house this week. So can you spot the difference is my question to you. Some of you may know already. I've mentioned it to a few people. So I've told you about my weekend. I would love to know what your weekend is going to involve. And whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the replay, can I put in a request please to share it? If you enjoy what I do, please hit the share button if you're on Facebook, and if you can also hit the like or the love, that really helps me. Facebook look at these figures, and if a video gets lots of reactions, then Facebook shows it to lots of other people, and also if you share it, then lots of other people who might not otherwise have found me can see what I'm doing and may enjoy it too. So that really is super helpful for me, so thank you in advance for doing that. And if you're watching on YouTube, then again, liking the video is always really helpful. I always reply to comments, so if you've got anything to say about the video, I'm always interested to read that. And if you like what I do, then subscribe, because that way you can see everything all in one place very easily on your YouTube account. And if you want to know whenever a new video goes up, then just click on that little bell icon, and that will mean that you get a notification when a new video has been posted. So I think that's all my housekeeping stuff. I don't think, any comments yet. A couple of weeks ago I had loads of comments when I'd finished, but none of them were showing up while I was going, so you never know, do you? So what's happening today? Well, I'm going to be crafting with the Tree Lot dies. They are a free Sale-a-Bration item. I actually won them in a raffle at a crafting event, which was how I got them, which was even better. And they coordinate beautifully with, and I can never remember the name of it, I'm looking down to check, the Trees for Sale stamp set, which is in the new mini catalogue. However, I don't have the Trees for Sale stamp set, so I was playing around to see what I could do with the dies, even if I didn't have the stamp set. If you have the stamp set, then you will have even more fun, because the two work together really, really well. But even if you only get the free dies, there's a lot you can do with them, so I've got some crafting to show you for those. I'm also going to show you the new sweet sampler, which is the Splendid Day Sweet. It's one of my favourites. The colours are just beautiful, and so I'm going to show you what you get in that sweet sampler, and you can order that now if you would like. And yeah, I think that's probably everything. So I'm going to move the camera down to my desk, and I will be back with you shortly. I'll try and do this a little bit more efficiently than of late. I had a team meeting on, was it this Monday or last Monday? I can't even remember. This Monday, and I was much better with the camera, so I'm really hoping that that's going to transfer to you, because watching me fiddle around isn't really the most entertaining of activities. There we are. So let's see how that is. I can't see till my iPad catches up what you can see. Maureen is here. Hello Maureen, and so is Mary. Hello and welcome ladies. It's really nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, I'm just going to move that back just a tiny little bit. And Kay is here. Hello Kay. Thank you very much for being here. I'm hoping the sound is okay. Perhaps you ladies can tell me that. Got a little bit of my t-shirt in there, but never mind. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's just move things to the right just a little bit, and I'll deal with this cable as well in my usual high-tech stick it up with washi tape way. There we go. So I'm hoping this will hold it out of your way and stop it just catching your eye in the corner of the screen, which is always really annoying. Oh, I'm giving myself very much slack there. Let's do a little bit more. Too much slack and it drapes across where I'm working. Not enough slack and I pull everything and it falls over, so neither of those are very good. Alright, let's try again. I haven't come up with a better way of doing this. I'm sure there is a high-tech way that I don't have the equipment for. But for the moment, washi tape usually does the trick. I mean, I think washi tape is the answer to many problems, actually. So there we go. All right, okay. So I've got my Sale-a-Bration catalogue open here, and I've got the Tree Lot dies open. It's page 12 in the brochure. Oh, thank you, Mary and Kay and Maureen. Brilliant. The sound is good. Fabulous. That's good news. All right. So this is the die set here, and if you open up the whole thing, there are lots of lovely samples for you here, and it tells you about the stamp set that it coordinates with. So that's what I'm going to be working with today. But for now, I'm just going to quickly show you the latest sweet sampler. So this is the Splendid Day Sweet. It's in the mini catalogue, and I'm pleased to say, given that we're still in July, that it's nothing to do with Christmas at all. It's a really, really beautiful sweet. I got it when I went to a Stampin' Up creative event, and as part of that we could order this early, and we were using it at the event, and I thought I would like it, but I didn't expect to really love it, and actually I do really, really love it. So let me show you what you get in your sampler, and if you love the sampler, then you can buy coordinating stamps and dies, or get the two together in a money saving bundle to go with your sweet sampler, and the images on the papers are reflected in the stamps and the dies. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going to drink some water. We are having work done in the house. If you heard me earlier saying, could you spot the difference in my craft room? We have new doors in. We've been having new doors put in all week, and it is fantastic to have the new doors, but it's quite dusty in the house. Even though he's cleaned up beautifully after himself, there are lots and lots of bits of sawdust and all sorts of things hanging around in the air, and I've been drinking lots of extra water. When he's finished, I will have a really good clean, and let's face it, it's not as bad as some things. If you've ever had plastering done in your house, you will know how appallingly messy that is. So it's not nearly as bad as that, and he has a hoover, and he hoovers up beautifully after himself every day, but it still seems quite dusty. However, the new doors are fantastic. I'm very pleased with them. Okay, so what I've put down here first of all is a quarter of a pack of copper foil. A lot of the metallics in the paper are copper, so that's a piece that's 6 by 12 inches, and then I've laid down 5 sheets of A4 card, and I think these colours are just so pretty together. I'm going to have to make something incorporating just these colours, I think. So there's a sheet each of Sahara Sand, Soft Sea Foam, I'm going mad, I can't remember the name of that. Petal Pink. I was going to say Pretty Pink, and I knew that was wrong. Petal Pink. So Sahara Sand, Soft Sea Foam, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and Fresh Freesia. And those colours are all reflected in the patterned paper, which is stunning. So the paper has either foil or a satin finish, and embossing on one side, and then it's matte on the other side. So this one is a really pale soft sea foam colour with white embossing. It's got a satin finish, and I don't know if you can see, but scattered across it are some little ladybirds. I think you can just about see that little ladybird there, which are really sweet. And on the other side of that is an all over leaf pattern in that lovely soft green. This one is a very kind of gentle gold, and it has an embossed white pattern top and bottom, so you can cut it in half across the middle, and then you've got a card front here straight off, and there's some little bees scattered. If you get the stamps, you've also got this little bee in the stamp set. And then on the other side is an all over leaf pattern. That's a really usable pattern, but I'm finding it hard not to use the foil because they're so lovely. This one is a copper foil with a white floral design on one side, and on the other side it's a canvas which has been painted and then printed all over with a leaf design. I don't know if the canvas texture is showing up on the camera, but it's lovely. It's very detailed. This is silver with a flower and leaf design on one side, again white embossed. And on the other side is Sahara Sand, and it's a canvas, but it's been colour washed, so some areas are lighter and some areas are darker. It's a really useful neutral paper on the back. This is another copper one, and this has a leaf image at the bottom and the top again. So once more, if you wish, you can cut it across the middle and then you've got card fronts. And in fact, as these pieces are all 6 by 12, you would get 2 6-inch square cards out of this, or of course you can cut it down for smaller sizes. These leaves remind me of lavender or even rosemary. They're beautiful. And then on the other side there is a repeat pattern in Calypso Coral on a very pale colour washed coral background. Again, that canvas showing through. And the final piece, which I also really love, is Fresh Freesia. So it's that soft pinky purple with white leaves embossed on top of it, and on the other side there is a purple leafy pattern. So the paper is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful paper. So you've got your paper, you've got your card, you've got some extra copper foil. You'll get half a pack of the open leaf embellishments. That will give you 10 of these, and I'll just lift one up and show you. So these are copper. They're made of metal. They have a little loop in one end, so you can hang them if you like, or you can just glue them onto your projects with mini glue dots. They're very pretty. So half a pack of those, and then a quarter of a reel of the coordinating ribbon, which is soft sea foam, and it's a seam binding ribbon. It drapes, it ties, it wraps, all of them beautifully. It's a very pretty ribbon, and if you want to colour it differently, it's a pale enough colour that you can actually go over the top with your Stampin' Blends markers and change the colour if you wanted to, in the same way as you do with the white, and it will take most colours very well. Bear in mind that you've got that slight green tinge to it, so that will slightly affect your colours, but in most cases it will colour really nicely if you wanted something different. So that is the current sweet sampler. It's £14 if you can collect it from me, or if I'm going to post it out to you, it's £16.50. And you have until August the 19th to order it, and then it will be ready on the 23rd of September. Sometimes they're ready before that, but I always give myself at least a month, because sometimes items go out of stock or they get delayed in shipping, and I want to be sure that you'll get it when I tell you you're going to get it. So if you would like that, just give me an email. That is my email address, and while I've got my website up, let me give you the current host code as well. So if you order online and you're ordering goods for £35 worth or more, if you add in the current host code, and that's also always pinned to the top of my Facebook page, and it goes in my weekly newsletter as well, if you add in that host code, then the following month I send you out a little something in the post. So there you go, that is the host code. And talking of newsletters, if you're not on my mailing list but you would like to be, then just let me know and I will happily add you on. Okay, so let's move that out of the way and do some crafting. So these are the Tree Lot dies. So these are free during Sale-a-Bration. If you purchase £90 worth of goods, then you can choose these for free. It's a really big set of dies. There are 24 dies in here, and almost all of them work without the coordinating stamp set. And as I mentioned earlier, just in case you've only just joined me, I don't have the coordinating stamps. So we have 3 conifers, and there are 2 dies for each, and you can use them individually or you can layer them together. So they cut out a solid conifer and then a really detailed one, and you'll see I've done a project with these in a minute. There is a very sweet little caravan, and there's a detail for the caravan as well. I'll show you how that works shortly. I'm not a camping person at all. I'm afraid I like my comforts when I go away. I don't like spiders. I don't like being damp or cold, and I'm not really a camper at all, but I do think this caravan is very, very sweet. There is a little string of fairy lights. Now there is a stamp in the set that coordinates with this, but if I'm using this, I will either colour in the fairy lights just with a marker, or you can pop on there a circular embellishment, some of the coloured dots and rhinestones and so on will work on there really nicely as little lights. There's a flagpole, there's a little set of bunting, there's this one which is a little bit strange. It actually cuts out 3 mini tree trunks, so you can actually have your trees with a little bit of trunk if you wish. If you don't want them kind of sitting down on the ground with all the branches covering the trunk, you can cut them with that, and that will emboss those trunks as well. There's a little die that cuts 3 stars which also have embossing detail on them. This one is little twiggy bits, so you could make a campfire, or you could do, I'm sure, all sorts of other things with that. This one cuts a little curved branch and a little stand, so you could make, I'm sure you've seen them in some of the designer shops when it comes to Christmas time. Sometimes you get these twig Christmas trees and they sit in a little wooden stand, and then you can decorate them. Well, that's what that one creates for you. Ooh, this is some more little twiggy branches, and you can add these twiggy branches to here as well if you want. There is a little wreath, Christmas wreath. There's a bow. This makes a little curtain which you can use on the window of the caravan, and it's got little candy cane embossing on it, so that's very festive. Then there are 3 dies here which cut out stamped images of bows. There's a little dog, and again there is a stamp for the dog, and then there's a little sign which you can use with or without the stamp set. So there are almost no dies in here for which you need the stamps to make sense of them. I think it's an absolutely terrific set of dies. I really love it, and it'll do you for all seasons, because you know, caravanning of course can be any year round, and the hardy campers among you will, I'm sure, go camping any time of the year. But I tend to think of it as summer, so you've got that for the summer, but then you've also got the trees which work absolutely brilliantly for Christmas cards as well as for winter cards. And some of the little bits and pieces in this you really can use all year round. They will also work for ladies and men's cards. So I'm just going to pop these all back on this magnetic sheet, because some of the dies are so tiny that I don't want to lose them. And then I'm going to show you, I've done a little kind of cheat sheet to show you how you can put the caravan together, because until I got the dies out and played with them, I hadn't actually realised quite how it worked. Let me just tuck that back in there. So here we are. So when you cut out the caravan, you've got one large die which cuts out this caravan here, and the window and the window in the door both come out separately. They're die cut as you do it, and there is some embossing on that. I don't know if you can see, there's embossing on the wheel, around the door, there's a door handle, and some kind of trim lines as well. I don't think that's showing up, unfortunately, but there is a lot of detail on that. And then the second die cuts 2 pieces in one pass. So this piece here will fit onto the roof, and this piece here fits on the bottom, around the bottom of the door. And the point of these is that you can then make 2 colour caravans. Now that probably wasn't the best one to choose, because I cut the top and bottom in white, and actually I've mounted it on white card, but I think you can just about see it. And there is also some detail on these pieces as well, some embossed detail. So you can very quickly piece together caravans in any colour you like. You can cut these trim pieces in patterned paper if you like. You can make some really funky caravans that way. And if you cut this basic one in a dark colour, basic grey maybe, or black, then you can snip off the tow hitch and the wheel and stick those over the top here and add in even more colours. So that's how the die comes together. So now I have some crafting to do with you, and I usually have the project made up, and sometimes I show you first and sometimes I don't, and then I make it in front of you so you can see what I did. But this time the projects are all in my head. I've cut all the pieces, but I haven't actually made any up. It's been a bit of a busy week. It's lovely having work done to improve the house, but it's very disruptive when you're trying to work, and so I have ended up not making these in advance. I've just got the pieces ready. So what I have here is a die cut Caravan in Night of Navy, and then I've cut the trim in mint macaron, and I've got a piece of vellum which I'm going to use for the windows. I'm just going to blue tack down this edge of the grid paper. I've got a fan on in here because it's so hot, and the paper is just blowing up. Let's just anchor that down. There we are. Then I've got a whole load of pieces and parts that I have cut from the Rings of Love paper. This is also a Sale-a-Bration free item. I'm going to be doing a lot more with that here next week, but I've cut out some of the houses and some of the bushes to give a background, so I'm just going to slide those to the side. I have a evening evergreen base, and I've cut this as a landscape base this time, and a layer of Night of Navy which I'm going to set aside, and then I have another layer of white. So I'm just going to create some background interest on this. If you're wanting sizes, I'll pop that down. I hope you can read it. My card base was 11.5 inches by 4 inches, scored at 5 3/4 of an inch. The navy layer is 5.5 by 3 3/4 inches, and the white layer is just 1/8 of an inch less, which is 5. And I think my pen was thick and I haven't written quite big enough. It's 5 3/8 by 3 5/8 of an inch. So it's just 1/8 of an inch down on that. So I just have a very, very narrow border. All right, so I'm going to take my mint macaron ink pad and I'm going to brush some green over my card. I don't want an awful lot of ink on here. I just want to knock back the white. I'm just going to make sure I haven't got any really big blobs of ink on here, and then I'm actually going to work in a to and fro motion. I'm going to start my hand moving before I hit the card, and then I'm going to hit the card, and that helps avoid any blobs. Usually when I use these brushes I do a circular motion, but this time, because I'm kind of wanting to move from this green to some blue in a minute with a sort of a horizon, I'm just working to and fro. There we are, a little bit more in the middle I think. I'm going to add a little bit of stamping over this, so I just want a little bit of colour and a little bit of texture. There we go, I think that's enough. And now I'm going to do the same for some sky with Night of Navy. Now Night of Navy is a really intense blue, and I only want a really pale sky. I did try it with Pool Party and with Balmy Blue, but the two colours just didn't work. So instead I'm just going to use the tiniest touch of Night of Navy, and again move my hand, and when it's moving it'll hit the paper. There. So if you really use just the lightest little brush of ink onto the blending brush, you can use a really intense colour, and now that is the right blue for my caravan and my houses without being too dark. I'll lift that up. So I've really just added some green and some green and some blue. So not particularly exciting at the moment, but give me time. So now I'm going to bring in a stamp, and I've used this one here from the Grassy Grove set. I love this set. I've got a card which is completed, which I will show you at the end, which uses the caravan with this set. But for now I'm just using this image here, and I'm just going to add some really, really pale stamping to this. So this is mint macaron, and I'm going to stamp off at least twice. Yeah. So I'm going to stamp off twice and then just add some really light stamping. And then I'm going to stamp off 3 times and add some in the background that's even fainter. So I'm looking to add visual texture rather than actual images. Marjorie's here. Hello Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to have you along this afternoon. Okay, and I'm not even going to clean that stamp because there's so little ink left on it and it's very pale. I'm now going to go to Evening Evergreen and I'm going to stamp this off at least twice. Let's see what the third looks like. And again, I think, yeah, even fifth. So I'm going to stamp off 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's only a hint of ink on there. And then I'm going to stamp this darker colour in the foreground. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. And I think that's probably enough. So it just looks like we've got some grass and we've got some flowers there, but nothing to particularly draw the eye. So next I'm going to arrange my pieces of paper that I cut out. So let me put the caravan aside for the minute. So I've got some houses and I've got some trees here, and I'm just going to play around with where I want them on here. Something like that, I think. I'm going to stick those down, and then I've got some cut out trees and bushes that I'm going to add. I like a bit of fussy cutting, so if you do too, then this is a great paper for that. There's lots and lots of images on here that you can cut out. I did do the cutting in advance because it would probably have taken me 15 minutes to cut all these out, and it's not the most exciting thing to watch. I don't think anyway. Right, now let's add in some trees. What have we got? I think that's going to work. Quite fun, this, designing your fantasy neighbourhood. Put that tree down first. I'll lift this up in a second and show you. Well, that's already glued down. That was quick then. There we are. So that's where we're up to so far. So I've now got my houses in the background. I'm not going to use those trees, I don't think. Somewhere I had a cellophane bag. Here it is. I'm going to keep those because I'm bound to do another card where they will be useful. Alright, so I'm going to set that aside and bring in my pieces for the caravan. So this is my roof piece, which I'm just going to glue in place here. And I don't know what this is, my bottom caravan trim. That's not very catchy, is it? But whatever that piece is, I'm not a caravanner, so I don't really know what the proper name is. There we are. And then we've obviously got this gap here because the windows cut out. So I've actually got a little piece of vellum cardstock here, which I'm going to put behind, so that will make those windows translucent and you will actually be able to see through them very slightly, which I quite like. So that is too big, so let's trim it down a little bit. There we are. It doesn't matter what the back looks like. So I'm going to glue that in place now. So that looks beautifully neat from the front. And then I just need to position my caravan, which I think is going to be slightly to one side like that. I've gone relatively minimal with my caravan decoration here. I haven't changed the tow hitch or the door or the wheels or anything like that. There we are. You can just see the grass through the window, because obviously this caravan has a window in the other side. I think that's really sweet to be able to see that. So now I'm just going to layer it all up. Quite nice when something I've imagined and cut the pieces for but haven't actually put together does come together how I expected. Not how I usually craft, but needs must this week. So have any of you got these dies? I would like to know. And the other thing I would like to know is, are any of you campers or caravanners? And for the inside, I'm just going to, I think, stick one of those little trees that I saved in there. I'm not going to stamp a sentiment inside, because I don't know what I will be using this card for. It would work for a happy holidays card, for a retirement card. Would even work for a new home card, I think, or indeed a birthday card. So just a couple of those little snipped out trees there. I've got glue all over my fingers. And then I'm going to stick that inside. And there we go, card number 1. I like that. I like the soft greens. Oops, let's move it forward a little bit. There we are, that's better. Okay, just going to drink some more water. And I love this stamp set. It's called Campology.